G'day, how you going? Ianapolis here, your acrylic guru from Australia. Welcome to me video. Okay, you saw that picture in the opening credits there. That's what I'm going to paint today. Some beautiful colours there, and it's a great exercise for you beginners. All right, and it's all done in acrylic. As I said, I'm the acrylic guru. I only paint in acrylics, all right. So I've got everything set up, and I've got the top half of the canvas masked so as I don't get any retarded paint down here, because sometimes it can interfere with the paint you're painting over the top of it. Okay, and there's the size of my canvas, so we'll get that up there before we get into this video. The size is in centimeters and inches there, and also I'll get the colors coming up the screen here so you can write them down and get them all ready to paint along with this video as well. Just remember, if you don't have the same colors I'm using, it's not a big deal, just something similar. It's just a tutorial for beginners, okay? But I'm using a good quality paint, and the quality of the paints make a big difference to your painting as well. All right, so come on over here and we'll get this happening, all right? Now I want pretty much enough paint to paint the top half of the canvas. I've got some soft craft paint there, and I've put my retarder in there because I'm going to blend a beautiful sky here. So I'll get this thoroughly mixed. I'm just using my 2-inch synthetic brush to apply it to the canvas, and I'm using that to mix it as well. So I've got it all in the brush now, and I want to get this sky area covered with this craft paint and retarder mix. Okay, so I'm getting it all on there because this is what lays down the foundation for a good blend. All right, if you're new to my channel, check out my links in the description below. I've got an art group there. You're welcome to join my art group. That's where you can show me your paintings and post them up there and ask for if you want help. Now while I mask this up, see this paint there, even though you dry that, when you're painting over it, it could act rubbery underneath and hinder the paint you're putting on top. So that's why I've just mask that off. And why do I do that? Because I learnt from mistakes I've done before. Now the next colours I've got down on my palette is Indian Yellow, Pyrrole Red, Phthalo Blue, and a bit of Dioxine Purple. I'm only going to use my pouncer for the Indian Yellow just to get that area. So I've dampened my pouncer just so I'll get a better transfer there. Use a brush, but I'm just going to use a pouncer because it's, where are we? I want this all down in the sky here. I want it coming out here. Beautiful, radiant from the corner there. Later on I'll put a bit of a glare in the middle there. And now I'm just going to stamp out the bubbles a bit more better. There we go. Now we can use a brush for the rest. Now this Pyrrole Red is a new colour I've never used before, so I'm going to see how it works in this sunsetty colour. Now beginners, be sure to separate your yellow and your blues with a decent red. I'm going to slice that enough. Where's my tape line? There it is. Through the yellow, and we'll probably do that as well. I'm just being artistic here. Okay, now I want to get a blending brush, and I want to blend the yellow and the red two colours together. Every time I blend, I always have a towel, paper towel, something to wipe the build up off my brush. Look at that. All right, and I want to really get these two incorporated together so they look really artistic. Now the red is a stronger colour than the yellow. I've got to be careful, see there, not to come here and bang back into the yellow. Okay, so if anything, I'll try and show you here. I'm going to be on the yellow, blending the yellow back into the red, and then we can get into the red. This is not a bad colour, I feel, I hope. I'll see when the painting's finished just how great it would look. There we go. Now I'm going to get all the red, and I'll pretty much just blend that a bit. There we go. Now if I put too much yellow into that red, when I bring the blue in, it can turn it green, and we don't want green colours in the sky. I will just wipe that brush that I had all that red on. I'm not going to go and wash it. And I want to pick up the phthalo blue. And why I'm not washing it is because it's going to mix with the red anyway to get our purpley colours in the sky. And we want to see that white that I've put on stops this from being too dark. And I want to slice that into the red. Okay, now we've got where the blue's meeting the red, we've got a bit of a purple shade as well. And I'll quickly wipe that and pick up some of the dioxine purple and get over here as well. That way this side of the sky is very dark. All right, pretty simple. Now grab your blending brush again and your paper towel or something you're using to wipe the build-up, and let's start blending these colours together, just so the transition of the two is nice, soft and artistic. So I start within the red where it's touching, and then I'll go deeper into the blue. That way we won't get too much destroying our beautiful colours there. Now this is just my method of doing skies and sunsets. I do this quite a lot. Anyone that's regular on my channel would know that. So now I want to blend that blue. I'm pretty much getting the brush strokes out of all that paint there. And now I want to hit that dioxine purple and just blend that into that blue there. So we've got a nice array of different colours transitioning across our canvas. Now just before we finish with the sky colours there, I'm picking up some titanium white, probably hitting it with some craft paint as well to help it spread. And just in here we want an intense area just there, and I'm going to slowly pounce it out. There we go. I'll pick up some more of that and get that a bit more tense there. All right. Now titanium white with my fan brush. I'm going to load my fan brush up so we can get some big fluffy clouds up there. Before we do, hang on a minute, I'll get some, because there's not going to be too much of them here, so I want to just sort of cover this up with a gap filler coming down like that. You know, the gap filler's probably like that. And I'll blend that. Paper towel. This is not a cloud, this is a gap fill, a bit like mist. So I'm just sort of covering the transition of the two colours there. Give it turmoil, twist it, and it'll make itself from your strokes there. Okay. That's all right. I don't like the way it's sort of gone triangle. I'm going to break that up a bit. I'm getting annoyed with myself. I seem to put all my clouds and shapes in the sky in that sort of shape, and I want it a bit more natural look and not too artistic. Sometimes the subject can be too artistic. That's a bit better. I've got rid of that. See what I did? I've just filled that area up. Maybe a tidbit there. Ickety ackety ongety. There we go. And then I want to start with the big fluffiness. This needs to go on first, though, otherwise if we put this on later, the big fluffy ones will kill it. All right, I'm going to really load up my brush. I'm just using a fan brush. Use something that you feel is your favourite loader-oner for clouds, because I want this side to be bright, and I'm not going to dilly-dally around and try and get it. So I want to leave just the top, and I want to really bang this on there like that. Just now I'm turning the brush because I know I've got some more white here, and boom, in front of there. Okay, and that's gonna ooze back with fading and allowing the next one to go. So I'm going to get another blending brush now, and I want to blend this nice and softly. It's going to pick up the colours on the canvas that are already there because the canvas is wet. Careful not to bring the yellow into the blue, and fade that out. Give it turmoil, give it some heavy business. Now you might need to, I feel I do with this, with that cloud there, I want to give it a bit of yumminess because I'm kind of lost her. There, see? That's, if you saw how I put that on there, I rubbed it in. I don't usually rub my clouds on, I usually stamp them on, but I'm trying something different here. So we want that with some turmoil all the way over here. How's that looking? And I want to fade it here so the next one can do its business. I might just tickle the top there, get rid of that. There we go, looks a bit more nature-like. Okay, now I've loaded up the brush. That's here, I want to bring the next one higher than it. So I'm gonna stamp this one on now, just because I wasn't a fan of rubbing something. Where's my tape? There it is. There we go. Bomb that on there like that. Grab your blending brush and do the same again. I'm leaving the edge and I'm coming back this way with my blending. Okay, so like I say, on and off, twist, turmoil, tickle the tops if you need to. Wipe your brush. I'll tell you what, I've got a big lucky blob of paint there, so I'll try and pick it up and transfer it here. There we go, wipe it. And now we'll get our... Yeah, I'm getting that. It's happening the way I want it to, so I'm fine with that. Beautiful. Okay, I've loaded up my brush again and I want to get some more on there now. So if anything, I want this edge bright against that other one that I put on previously. Up there, and we're going to participate. I can maybe put something, where's my tape line? There it is there. So I might want to get this about there in front of that one. And I'm going to blend that one now. Okay, so same thing again. So pretty much this is the third time I've come across all those colours there. I want to bring it all the way out there, and I've got to look in my monitor and see that I'm not getting a pattern. I think I might be. I'll see how we go. There we go, create the bottoms. Right, now I want to lighten up this area here down the bottom of the horizon line, so I'm going to get more on there, stamp it on in front of all that. And bring it down to the atmosphere. So I'm coming up, just making me cloud. Because I want it quite bright there, as I'm going to have that landmass out there. And then we'll do this, or bring that down. Where's the tape? There it is. Bring that down to the atmosphere there. So this is kind of broken up the bottom of those. Yeah. Okay, I'm just put another cloud within this one here, and I forgot to have the camera on, and I'm blending that one within there as well. Okay, just so that we haven't got too much of a, I don't know, some kind of pattern happening, something in there as well. And that'll pretty much do for our clouds. Just to finish it off, we'll get some lineal stuff going on here. I'm just putting it on with me smaller fan brush, and I'll just sort of blend it in a bit like that. Where else can we get another one? Maybe something just along here. Get it on. There we go. I might put another one here as well, right in front of the glare. Now we'll pull the tape off. It's always good to watch the tape being pulled off. Nothing's under here, so it doesn't matter how I peel that off. And we're ready to do the next part of the painting. Now we'll get the water done. I just want to first put in the bank first, and then we'll use the turquoise to get all our water in. So pretty much here's where the bank's going to be. I'll get this all brushed in. I'll get it a little bit damp just so we get a bit of transfer happening there a lot better. Okay, pick that up. There we go. Now what I want to do, there's me bank, but I'd like to dribble bits into there. That'll do. And more. Because that's what creates the water over the sand, in my opinion. Now I'll get a bit of white just to give it some different value in there, so it's not so dark. There we go, get a bit more of that if it's there. Okay, I've washed that brush and I want to get the horizon line on first, then I'll come down. So I'm just going to use my stick just so as I can control that horizon line. And it's just not wet enough, so I'm going to wet it a bit more too, so our transfer happens beautifully. Okay. Need to come up a bit. There we go, I've got the horizon line on reasonably well, and I've got a ton of paint on my stick all over my gloves. Now I want to bring this down to my area there. Just quickly brush that through and get that merging into there, and that transition of the two colours, when we put the water on it, allows that effect of shallow and deep water. Turquoise, I'm just picking up some of the titanium white, and I'll probably want to band here, just something like there. And if it's too much, grab your turquoise again and darken it back through. Now I just want to, because our sun area is out that way, so that's going to be a bit brighter in that corner. Now that's a bit too much, so I'm going to pick up the turquoise again, and there we go. Play with it backwards and forwards with the values. There we go, look at that. Now before things dry, I want to pick up my fan brush and load it with the paint and get the water hitting the sand first. So I want to keep these straight. I don't want to start coming up and down like that, just to get them straight. So I want this coming off the page and coming into the sand there. I'll stop there for a bit. I've got a small blending brush I love to scrumble with, and I want to keep these scrumbling motions level with the horizon line. That's just the way I like it. Now I'm on and off and pulling, on and off and pulling, leaving the bottom side sharp, wiping it as you go. And we're just pulling bits of whitewash back into the foreground here, leaving the bottom side very hard. There we go. Now we'll continue along to the right hand side. So I'm picking up some more. I'll go about there. Wipe that brush. And doing the same again. How's that looking in the monitor? Not too bad, I suppose. And just to finish it off, we'll come along here. There we go. Wipe it. Keeping the bottom, like I said, hard and sharp, and then blending the top side into the ocean there. That'll do. Now I've washed that fan brush, and I'll just put like another layer out there to give us, like, probably, if anything, it's going to come that way, not following out there because it'll be out of perspective. So I want something about here, coming down, pretty much level with the horizon line, somewhere there, and do the same with that, keeping the bottom half sharp and tight, and the top half just pull back into the ocean. I'm just picking up some white on the scrumbling brush just so I can get some more foam happening out here, just because I want it. I feel I want it. Okay, I've just mixed up some of the darker colour with the turquoise there, and I've got my liner, and I want to like sit this down onto the sand there with the thin liner, just twisting the brush as I go. And it doesn't matter if your hand's shaky, it sort of creates that natural look. Just break it up here and there. And this just stops the water look like it's floating on the sand there, okay? Adds that element of realism. You want it nice and thin. That's doing the job. Okay, I've got a flat brush. I've dampened it down a bit, and I've laid the white and the burnt umber just so as we can load my brush up. I want burnt umber on one side of it, and I want the white on the other side of it. Sorry about that, the camera wasn't up on the easel there, so I've got the brush loaded up, light and dark, and I'm just leaving the light at the top, and I'm using a flat brush just to get some rocks out here. I'll keep the corner a bit dark. I have dried it, it's still a little bit tacky, but we'll get there. And we'll get some smaller ones. Where's the white? Get some smaller ones out here. Just something on the beach there. Now with some more yellow oxide on a bigger flat brush, get some white in there to brighten it up a bit. I want to create the island out there on the horizon line, so I only want to come about halfway, or a bit over halfway. So let's get this, let's say from about there, get this on. This stick's going to allow me to get everything reasonably straight. There we go. And now I want to shape my island out there. So we're coming from a point, because if anything it's a bay. Okay. I'm going to have to draw it again, but I can do that off camera. But yes, this is virtually the base of our island out there. Okay. I've got my little, oh, it's not a little one, it's about a medium-sized filbert, and I've got some forest green here just to get some foliage in that distance there on the island. So we want to chisel it onto your brush accordingly. There's stuff all the way out there. This is in the distance, so it doesn't have to be too massive and detailed. And what I'd like to do, instead of dancing it in a straight line across that, I'd like to dance it in a straight line across that, giving it some height as we come to the right here. But also, as we come along, trace some of it into the island, so it's got, giving it forward and backward areas within your subjects. And I'll keep chiseling the brush up as I load it. I don't know if you can hear that, but there's a blowfly in here. I've left the door open. And as we come here, we're getting some air between our trees. Now what I'm doing, I've just washed that brush, and while the paint's still a little bit damp, I'm kind of pulling the bottoms out a bit, just so they're not so sharp out there, because it's in the distance and you don't want that razor focused, razor sharp there. So I'm just blending that down a bit. There we go. It's just casting some shadow elements there as well. I've just got some burnt umber on the brush now and just tracing in a bit of shadow there, just at this side, not all the way over here, even though I'm still doing it. Just some depth. Every shrub needs depth and shadow and darkness at the bottom of it. Okay. All right, just got some yellow green on there, and if anything, I'll highlight it with some yellow green just on the top. Just dance on the top, and then every now and then where you get the opportunity, trace some just in the black there, like that, just along the top, a little bit in the black there. It just creates bushes with perspective. This is just simple yellow green out of the tube, or you can mix some cad yellow with your forest green and get it more of a yellow green if you like. In the black, there we go, in the black. That's it. You can detail that till the cows come home, but that's quite pretty well enough. Okay, now I've got the same brush. Use whatever brush is going to work for you. I picked up the craft paint, the soft student paint, and I want to get a film of water, just kind of kissing that out there. Oh, it's a bit fat, this brush. I want to get the line on there, so to speak. Then I'm going to wash it, wipe it, because it leaving the brush a bit damp, and I can hopefully soften the bottom of that line up. There we go, with the water, and it's turning it like I've done before in film, like a film of white film. Okay, it's just something to kiss the edge there. So I've got my burn umber and I've got some modelling paste there, really thick. They told me this won't change the velocity of the paint. No, it's doing all right. It's going to keep it the same colour. Now while I'm using this, it's going to be thick and like a putty. That's how I want it, because I want our tree to have dimension. I'm going to load my knife with it. I'm using a long knife, and let's see if we can get something on here, say about there, 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 and there. Okay, that's looking good. Now, I want the top skinnier than the bottom. The bottom's going to come about here, about there. So I'll get it all. Now I can grab that side. I want to get it all pretty much knifed on from that edge. There we go. So I've done it in a size where I know my knife can handle filling it in with the paint. There we go. This is nice and thick. Putty. Turned the paint into putty. Now I want to get this side of the tree nice and sharp, because this is right in focus here. Because I've got a bit of a, look at that, it's a bit open there, so we'll get it sharp. There we go. All right, I've got some titanium white on my knife. I've just knifed that a bit neater off camera, and I want to lightly just from this side here skim. Now that white is very bright, which I know, but I just want it on there because that puttied up paint is very thick. Now I want to get the flat brush and manipulate, you know, the rings within a palm tree with the brush. And this is softening the white down to a duller value, I hope. And if it's not, well, then we can just grab some of the burn umber, which I'm going to need to do, so I'll show you. And we'll get the burn umber and trace it back from this side. Oh, that white's overtaken. I'm going to have to dry it. So I've dried it, and I'm bringing this side darker back into that lighter side, okay? I mean, the wet paint might loosen it up again, but we've got one side brighter than the other. That'll do. All right, with the forest green, let's add some fronds on there. Just come up and let them break. Come smaller as a tree. It's a bit too much on the wet side. I put too much water in my forest green. But anyway, we want some, pull it and let it scratch. Pull it and let it scratch. Just like that. That is too opaque, because I'm kind of, when it's drying, I'm going to see through it. So I'll just thicken the body of paint up with some more forest green. Okay. And we're going to virtually get all our branches on. Just get them scratchy like that, see? I've got to be careful not to touch the middle of the trunk because it's still a bit rubbery and pasty. I'll do this again. There we go. There's so many ways you can do palms. I find this way with a flat brush to show a beginner is quite easy. This one's going to go wang down there like that. Now try not to have them too much looking like an even spoked wheel. We'll get something maybe up here. And something about here. Maybe down there. Now what I like to do is get rid of the busy, make it busy in the middle, little pointy ones out there, just to get rid of that little skinny area. I've given that a dry. Now grab your yellow green and work out, I want this branch pushing those ones back, so I want this, and give it some yellow green highlight. Pull it down into that forest green there. Okay, we'll get something here. I want to bring this one in front, pull him down. See how easy that is with a flat brush? Just to give it a sense of realism, I've just pulled some of the burnt umber into this yellow green to give it our dead stick look at the end of the fronds, because if you look at palm fronds at the end, they do have that dead colour. So we'll put some of this in there. I'm going to hit it with a bit of white just to see what happens, because it's very dark still. Just to get some dead bits at the ends of them. You know what I mean? This one here. There we go. Probably put some of that in the middle if you want. So there's my palm tree with that paste. I just wanted to try that paste out. Now I'll put a signature on here. Okay. And give yourself the opportunity to have a look at my links in the description below. And like I said, become a member of my art group page. Okay, she looks pretty good in a frame there, you reckon, eh? Okay, thank you for watching. If you like what I'm doing, you tell your friends, but if you don't, you tell everybody, alright? All the best, goodbye, good luck, and good on ya.